Hey everyone, Hugh here. Welcome back. In this particular video, I'm taking a look at Hemerocallis. These are otherwise known as daylilies, and this particular one has flowered its socks off over the past 6 weeks or so. It's a variety called fairy tale pink, and one that produces lovely shades of sort of yellowy pink flowers, yellowish to pink flowers, particularly in June, July time, although sometimes May, June time depending on the year that we have it. But as you can see, the foliage at this stage is looking fairly shook. So some Hemerocallis benefit. Some Hemerocallis will actually hold their foliage very well, and when they finish flowering, you remove the flower stems, right down, and they do as a lovely background foil for other plants, a lovely green background foil. But this particular plant, you can see the foliage has deteriorated on it, so I just like to clean it up and leave it nice and tidy. It's not a good idea to prune these guys right down until the autumn time, until all the foliage is brown. But that doesn't mean that you can't touch them at this time of year. It doesn't mean that you have to live with where they're looking past their best. It's easy enough for me because, as you know, I do lots of my plants in pots and containers for my courtyard and for my cottager area, so I can easily rotate them out and put them into a growing space where they can be cared for. But if you have them growing in the garden in a prime viewing position or in close to something else that's looking very well, they can be a bit detracting for the eye. So it's a good idea to take them, remove any spent flower stems the way that I was doing it there, and some of this foliage that's gone over a little bit, simply remove it. It should pull out, the dead foliage should pull out and pull away pretty easily, like so, and that can be composted in your compost bin. Of course, this is a good opportunity to check if there's any slugs or snails lurking or hiding. And while I do like to leave a lot of this sort of dying or decomposing foliage during the winter, because it's a good place for the likes of ladybirds and other insects to overwinter themselves, at this time of year I'm more of a let's get it clean, let's just clean it up and get it nice and tidy looking. Now, I'm not going to give this an overly heavy feed of anything. I don't see that as necessary. It's in its resting period. It's done its work. It deserves a holiday. So I'm simply going to top dress it with a little bit of fresh compost. That'll be enriched with some bone meal and seaweed fertilizer, which are slow release, so it means the plants can use the nutrients or can avail of the nutrients in their own time. Hemerocallis, of course, can be lifted and divided every couple of years, maybe every 3 or 4 years, and in fact benefit from lifting and dividing and either repotting or replanting with lovely fresh rich compost around them. But we don't do that until the winter months. In fact, early spring. A lot of my, in fact most of my lilies have come from a lilies provider called Polly's Lilies. She's, as someone described her on Twitter, sort of like the Yoda of daylilies, and a very nice person too. For this softer foliage that's not quite died back, but the tips are brown, you can see I'm using a scissors, as it's so soft. The secateurs probably wouldn't cut it so well, so a standard, reasonably good scissors is doing the job for me just fine. I'm just removing some of those brown tips. Of course, I am available for haircuts. If needed, although I wouldn't recommend me go to a qualified barbers or hairdressers instead. And you can see I'm being careful to leave that stem there, so I want to enjoy the last flower from this plant for the season. So, last of the summer daylilies. So there we go. I think that's pretty good. Just checking around the rim of the pot for any undesirables. And taking the opportunity to write over some of the lettering. As it's a little bit faded. Now, some top dressing with some compost. It's my usual potting mix. About a third of homemade compost, a third of bought topsoil, bought sieved topsoil, and a third manure. So there we are. Hemerocallis nicely cleaned up and top dressed, and it'll go into a nice restful space where I can enjoy some rest and recovery in preparation for the year to come. Thanks as always for watching, for likes and subscribing, and of course catch you on the next one. Bye for now.